Another day, another story of travel troubles, this time for Migos. The band was on their way from Atlanta to Iowa when takeoff was aborted due to the actions of a man named Takeoff. So as they were taxiing, according to Delta flight 1532 from Atlanta to Des Moines returned to the gate prior to departure to deplane several customers seated in the first class cabin who repeatedly refused to follow crew member instructions to buckle their seatbelts and stow carry-on items in the overhead bins. But according to a video uploaded by the band's manager in the jetway after they deplaned, he implied that there was racial profiling and that it was in fact it wasn't that the flight attendant was ignored, it was that the band was so tired and had fallen asleep and so wasn't able to heed the instructions of the in-flight crew, and then said he was gonna sue Delta. But in the end, they were able to get on a later flight, which they had all to themselves. Take a look at a video uploaded by the band.
Gave me and my gang a whole plane, the whole thing. John Wayne, yeah, tell you, the whole one. No custom merch, just Migos gang.
Thoughts, 5 words or less.
Takeoff off the plane.
Bad and confusing.
Takeoff aborted by takeoff.
That was pretty. We had pretty similar thoughts on there.
Yeah. So this is such a weird story to like come up with an opinion on.
It's just very confusing. I watched both videos. So there's like the video that the managers looks like he's recording when they're talking with like the gate attendants, and then there's a video when they're on the plane by themselves, which also doesn't make sense. I have never come across a flight attendant who was like coy about waking somebody up to tell them to do something.
Yeah, they usually just pick
you know
up
what I mean? They kind of just do it, or they just like shove you awake. So it wasn't like they're like, oh well, they're sleeping. Guess we'll have to have them off the plane. Like I don't want to wake them. You know what I mean? Like my guess is there's something that might have happened on the plane.
Yeah. I mean, usually the flight attendant picks up your bag and says, I'm just gonna put this in the overhead bin if that's okay.
Yeah.
And so,
or they'll like push, like I watched a flight attendant a few weeks ago on a plane like shove a cat under the seat, like well in a thing, but in a carrier case, but she just like shoved it. Like they're not coy about moving what needs to be moved. And so I wonder if there was something else going on. The manager sounded a little kooky.
Little managery.
Little kooky.
He sounded like his responsibility was to further the interests of his client.
I just feel like we're missing a major component to this story because as it stands, it's just, I think you put it perfectly. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I have been yelled at by flight attendants before and should have been. You know what I mean? Like I have deserved it but like little things like just having my earphones in when they're giving the safety presentation and I have like big earphones and they're like, just even effing try.
Right.
Just like take them off for a minute. So it's strange that, you know, when you don't comply with stuff, flight attendants aren't shy about it. It's their job to keep you safe.
Yeah.
And that's something that they definitely, I think is important to them.
I agree, and another component was when the manager was like, I want to speak to the captain. He kept demanding to talk to the captain, or the pilot of the plane or whatever. Like the pilot of the plane just like drives the plane. It's not like he's like in charge of Delta. Like
he's definitely in charge of like, all right, we're going back. We're gonna get these people off the plane if it's that big a deal.
I don't know if do you think it's the pilot or is it the attendant and like the TSA that work together?
It's a pilot.
Pilot?
Pilot's just like, okay, we're gonna go, you want him off, we're gonna go back.
Yeah, but so
I mean, some pilots aren't like that. Some pilots could say like, listen, we're on a tight schedule. But the thing is like, you have to remember is the flight attendant does not wanna go back and kick you off the plane. The pilot does not wanna do that because the pilot is on a shift and needs to get back, and once that door opens, they're not getting paid until it closes again.
And don't they have to file paperwork?
Yeah, and it's a shit ton of manifest
It's a huge hassle.
So something happened, we don't know what.
Yeah. But this is a good PR stunt for Migos.
I do think that Delta also was like, oh shit, that's a ban. Okay, just put another flight together and just get them there now. And Migos had a performance they needed to get to by 10 o'clock. And they were able to land at 9, and they probably had an opener, so they probably made it on time. Migos said they released a statement later saying that they're still gonna fuck with Delta, which is good.
Oh, that's so sweet.
That's really thoughtful. They probably have their Sky Miles cards.
Yeah.